The question is this, and I want you to answer honestly. Do you feel like we are moving closer or further away from the founding fathers' principles of democracy? Because I want to have an honest discussion about it. I think it's important, if we are to really track where we're headed, to provide facts and not speak out of emotions. There's a lot going on in not just our country, but the world that has been making me think. In case you missed it, Donald Trump recently signed an executive order to rename the Department of Defense into the Department of War. Now, previously, from 1789 until 1947, the Department of Defense was known as the Department of War. However, in 1947, under the National Security Act, that title was abolished, and we got the creations of the Department of the Army, Department of the Navy, Department of the Air Force. And then in 1949, those departments were consolidated, and we got the Department of Defense, which is what we have known it for ever since. Here comes Trump again, for reasons that I can't speak to, and I'm sure many individuals could not speak to, who has decided that he likes the title Department of War back, and so he signs the executive order to rename the Department of Defense the Department of War, and then feels it necessary to send a message to an American city, not Russia, not Iran, not China, an American city, Chicago, that they're going to find out why it's called the Department of War. I don't care what party you subscribe to or what animal fuels your fire. You cannot, as an informed citizen, think that it is okay for any president, to send out a message to an American city saying you are now going to find out why we are called the Department of War. So you've got the Democratic Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, coming out on Saturday saying that what Trump posted is not normal. Then says the president of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. Now, it's not just Chicago that Trump has been targeting when it comes to sending in federal troops. We already know that he sent in federal troops when it came to D.C. We know that he sent in the National Guard when it came to L.A. We know that he has threatened Baltimore, and he has threatened New Orleans. It is very interesting, the cities that he is choosing to call crime-ridden. When we look at the actual objective truth, that is just not true. These cities, sure, have faced serious issues and crime, and it's a long history of why these cities have faced higher crime rates than some other places. But we don't need to go into that. All we need to go into is this. Every city that he has named has for at least the last 2 years seen a decrease in crime. The bottom line is this: DC has a chronic problem with violent crime, but it's not nearly the worst in the United States, and it's gotten significantly better over the past 2 years. I want to turn to some more numbers based off of that. This is an article from Axios that is determining where homicide rates are the highest. The big picture: 13 of the 20 U.S. cities with the highest murder rates were in Republican-run states. Many of those cities were run by Democrats who are often at odds with state officials. Many cities, including those with highest murder rates, saw declines in homicides, usually over the last 2 years, before Trump got in office, before Trump started sending in federal troops. Crime remains a significant concern, but Trump's criticism of big Democrat-led cities in blue states tells only part of the story. 8 of the top 10 cities, let's repeat that one more time because I don't have a ticker to highlight the words that I'm about to say. 8 of the top 10 cities with the highest murder rates and populations of at least 100,000 were in red states: Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, Tennessee, Ohio, and Louisiana. Jackson, Mississippi had the nation's highest homicide rate, nearly 78 per 100,000 residents. Remember, D.C. was what, 25 per 100,000 or something like that? Why doesn't Jackson, Mississippi need the National Guard? They're definitely in a crime crisis. It seems like they've got the highest number. Birmingham, Alabama was second with a homicide rate of almost 59 per 100,000 residents, more than 11 times the national average. I don't remember hearing Birmingham on the list of cities that Trump felt the need to send troops into because crime is so important to him. It is important that we eradicate. It is important that we get these numbers under control so businesses can open back up, people can feel safe on the streets, kids can play outside. And yet, the top 2 cities with the highest homicide rate, there's no mention of them getting the National Guard sent to them. To finish up here, I want to take a look at a report that is released annually by a group of political scientists, analysts in Sweden from the VDIM Institute. And a little background on the actual institute here. The VDIM Institute is founded by Stefan Lindberg in 2014. It's an independent research institute that serves as the headquarters of the VDIM project, which is a database that seeks to conceptualize and measure democracy. So they release this report annually that kind of takes a measure of the world and boiling it down to the simplest terms of the way that I understood it, either your gradual push towards the left, which is liberalism and democratization, or the right, which is autocracy, dictatorships. They open it with, as we are finishing up this year's democracy report, recently inaugurated President Trump is voting against NATO allies in the UN, joining with autocracies like North Korea, Russia, and Sudan. Military support to Ukraine was just cut off, although we did see a slight reversal of that where arms are being sent back and funds are being sent to Ukraine. And recently, I think we saw Trump come out and say that he is ready to go to the second round of sanctions against Russia because they attacked a city with a bunch of drones and killed a bunch of people. This 2025 report unfortunately finds no signs of the third wave of autocratization, cresting, or even slowing down. No matter how we slice the data and look at it from different perspectives using different metrics, the overall trend of worsening stands. Okay, here we go. Big numbers, big stats, quote unquote, the fun stuff. Autocracies and democracies. The world has fewer democracies than autocracies for the first time in over 20 years. Liberal democracies have become the least common regime type in the world, a total of 29 in 2024. Nearly 3 out of 4 persons in the world, 72%, now live in autocracies. And this number, this one I found really fascinating and I think is a warning sign to our countrymen, our brothers and our sisters, to people who are continuing to play this game in the media of the bottom lines matter more than telling the truth, towards individuals who have had their spines kicked in or maybe never had them to begin with, who continue to spout lies about what's occurring in our government so that they can line their own pockets or because they've been promised something in the New World Order. 27 of the 45 autocratizers were democracies at the start of their episode. Of these, only 9 remain democracies in 2024. The favorite weapon of autocratizers is media censorship, followed by undermining elections and civil society. I don't think anybody who is listening or watching this needs this explained. It is very clear we are seeing this play out in our own country. Individuals, I literally just did an episode, high-profile media faces who are very critical of this administration have either been severely limited in their time slots or completely stripped of their shows, followed by undermining elections. In 2020, we saw a man come out and say to the world the elections were stolen and rile up a group of individuals so much they were willing to storm our Capitol, assault democracy. They were all pardoned by this administration. Some of them are getting military funerals. Others are getting paid for what they did. Again, I believe everybody here is an informed citizen, and I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but I do think it is important because sometimes I don't know to define terms. Democratization means that a country is making moves towards democracy regardless of starting point. I hate this word. I can never say it right. Autocratization is the opposite. And the reason I bring that up is because underneath it has a list of countries and it shows whether they are moving up towards autocracy or down towards democracy. And like I said, this is the 2025 list, so I'm guessing 2024 results. Let's go to the United States here. We are a liberal democracy, which, defining the term, requirements of electoral democracy are met, judicial and legislative constraints on the executive, along with the protection of civil liberties and equality before the law. This is questionable to me, but it was 2024 and not 2025, which I'm assuming this is going to change. Go to the United States. We are currently not moving in any direction. We just sit underneath liberal democracy. But if you go back to 2022, which would have had 2021 studies, same report, sliding scale. If you're moving left, you're going towards democracy. If you're going right, you're moving towards autocracy. Country names highlighted in blue highlight the 15 countries with significant democratization, and red country names reveal which 33 countries have undergone substantial autocratization. I don't feel like many of you are going to be surprised by the results, but looking at it, United States of America highlighted in red. What is that again? Undergone substantial autocratization, moving towards the right, moving towards autocracy. And I just feel like I can't understate this enough. Ladies and gentlemen, United States of America, the symbol of freedom, of democracy, the bastion of hope, is on a list highlighted in red, saying that it is moving steadily, not even slightly, firmly towards autocracy. And this was in 2021. Imagine what this study is going to say in 2026. He wants to be a dictator. Call this ish out. The facts presented. Now I'm going to leave it at this. What do you think? Are we moving closer or further away from democracy?